What's up, everybody? T Money here. So today I'm gonna go through all of my trades for you guys. This was a pretty active and interesting day in the market, and I think I traded overall very well on the day, especially having a little bit of long exposure coming into today and being able to close green. So let's get into it. First trade and first name I was watching off the open is this TWLO. I was long yesterday from 200. Right here is when I bought, and then I sold half of my position via some calls, and I was swinging half of them coming into today. As I've said in our group, was cautious long, and as far as sizing goes, using my lowest tier size, so lowest amount of risk out, because I knew that the option, or I knew that the market was in a spot where we could see a rug pull at any time. So that being said, we come into today and we get a big gap down. So my stop on this was just below 197 on my original entry, 196.99, and pre-market it was actually just below 197. So what do we do if a stock is set to gap below our stop? So I have a game plan for that. I'll wait for a 15-minute low to be put in, and I'll also look to buy and go long against that low. And one of the reasons being is that my stop is in a particular spot for a reason, so that's an area that could potentially act as support. So right off the open, I'm down $1,000 in my TWLO position. I bought a little bit at I, I bought I bought one or two calls at 198.50 and waiting for a 15-minute low to be put in, and then that low would be my new stop since we were getting a big gap down and it was right around my out. Then TWLO pulled in, put in a low of 196.29. I then bought another one or two contracts at 197. So after that, TWO moves up. I sold all of my first ad from my original position at 199 and 200. I then sold another one contract at 201 201.50, and I think I got out of the last part of my ad back at 200 again. So at this point, I was down $1,000. TWLO puts in a 15-minute low. I added to help trade around my position and work it. I sold all of my ads on the way up, and I still then just had my original position. So with TWLO back above 200, that's the area we, if it could hold above, could continue for a breakout. So it's looking pretty good. But as the market was super weak, came down, and then I was stopped out of my original position below 196.29, and I ended up down $250 in the name, and that was from being down $1,000 off the open and then trading around the position and putting ourselves in a good spot to then still stay long this if the market wanted to hold up. So that's really good trade management, and having a plan off the open helped me turn what immediately started off as a not good day into a very tame and small loss. So that's trade number one. Trade number two on the day was UNG, natural gas. I went long this, also looking at the natural gas futures chart has a cleaner look. I'm looking at the weekly chart here, seeing some potential signs of a bottom with a rounded bottom trying to form, although this thing is still in a long-term downtrend. So I wasn't in love with this position, but worth a shot because if this gets going, this could squeeze up a good bit. And then we'll go back to the UNG daily chart. This is what I was using to trade it. break it down to a smaller time frame, looking at this rounded bottom being put in on the 15-minute time frame. 11:15 was my entry, just kind of above this 15-minute chart resistance area. I bought calls at at 11:15, right around here, kind of ripped up but went sideways and consolidated a little bit. I ended up bailing on my position before the close, mainly because this is in a bigger term downtrend, and that means that the odds of a gap down or a big gap down are decent. So this is just not something that I need to be sitting in if it didn't move much away from the price. So that ended up being basically a break even trade, tiny win. My PL says up 68 bucks in the name. That's a break even trade in my book. Okay, on to the next one. IZEA. I had a really nice day trade short in this name. Small cap stock. A lot of times these really crappy charts, they'll be beaten up for a while, and then a rush of buyers come in, and then eventually you get a bunch of people who are chasing. And if you can kind of pick a right spot where a bunch of people have chased this stock from 21 cents all the way up to $3, and then they start to get in a bad position, then some people can be forced to sell, and there's opportunity. So the reason why I was looking at this short up here was just looking at the weekly chart, coming right up into a potential resistance area. Break it down to intraday. I don't know what is wrong with my chart here, but either way, right around it pulled up to 313 and then put in this 5-minute red bar, and this was right around the weekly resistance area. So I shorted a little bit, started going sideways. I added when this very short-term 5-minute consolidation here started breaking down, and then I just covered. My average price was 2.9 with a 3.01 stop. I covered 272, 276, 262, 256, 252, 248, just, and then I'm all out, and that's that. And that I ended up $1,200 on this name. So you can see, just between being able to properly manage and trade TWLO stopped us from being being far in the red. Then all it took was one more good trade to then have a solid day and be up $800 or $900. I think after this trade, I was up $1,000, and then I put one more trade on in SPY. Huge sell off, obviously. Just looking for this 300 area to act as some support, so I was looking for a day trade scalp long. 5-minute chart, when it put in this hammer over here, I went long. My price on the put, or on the sorry, on the calls that I bought, was like 302. It was at like 302.35 when I bought um, calls. Then kind of came back up a little bit, and when it took out lows is when I got out, or when it went below 301, and I took a $150 loss there. I took this with smaller size than I did the IZEA trade, because this is kind of going counter trend, and the market's been super weak all day, so no reason to be trying to catch a falling knife here with any significant size, but a potential short-term opportunity. So yeah, that's my day today. Pretty much one break-even trade, two trades that went well, even though TWLO was red. I managed that really well, and then IZEA was the one that helped us come home with $850 more today. Hope you guys enjoyed.